You are tuned in to the Mark Order Podcast. Join the Mark Order.
Hello. It is Saturday night, so you have no idea what that means. It is the Mark Order Podcast. I am Ryan, joined by Joe, who goes by Asian Joe, which means every time I say his name, I want to sing Ranger Joe theme song. Joe, how are you?
Doing well. It is Saturday, isn't it?
It is. And we are joined by special guest who is big timing us with his camera and his microphone. Special guest, Kyle K. Sparks. He's been all over. He's had stuff on Body Slam, on Fightful Overbooked. Yeah, I think he's done Love Wrestling for a period. I think you've been all over, if I'm not mistaken. Kyle K. How you doing, Kyle?
Doing great, Ryan. Thanks for having me on to do this first Collidercast. I'm excited to collide.
We are going to collide softly.
That's how we Day would want it.
Exactly. You know, he was a very soft tune for love. So yeah, this is the new thing the Mark Order will be doing every Saturday. It should be Joe and I here pretty much most Saturdays, for the exception of when things pop up. We may be joined by other members. We may not. Who knows what the hell they're doing? Kate is too busy for us most of the time anyway, and Ant has something called a child. Mistake on his part.
Kyle has children. He's here.
I have two.
That's true. See, Kyle's showing Ant what to do. I could phrase that the age difference there, I think, is of the kids makes a difference, but
that could be argued.
One actually requires watching after, where the others probably are able to take care of themselves. So yeah, we'll be doing this every Saturday with hopefully different guests. We'll have repeats. We're definitely gonna have Kyle on more than once, but we'll try to keep it spicy. This is a typical watch along for anyone. We'll watch, I'll comment, but I'll also just talk trash when it's just things you can't really comment on, and we'll cover what's going on in AEW either through the week or the news or just the wrestling world in general. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and there's no official start, so I'm just going to ask a question. Did you guys watch Rampage last night?
I did.
I did.
I watched it again
today. What do you guys think? To me, it was a good Rampage. It was what Rampage has become.
Yeah, it was a perfectly solid show. Go ahead, Joe.
I don't know. I watched it twice. I watched it again today because I thought maybe I had missed something integral into AEW. Like I really didn't. So I watched it last night. I'm like, did I pay attention to it? And I watched it back again today, and like, yeah, I did. And nothing really. There wasn't a lot that just like wowed me. It was very. I feel like they go through and have about 3 or 4 like really solid rampages. And they fall back into this kind of like dark rampage.
Yeah, you had, while Willow and the Stats match was quick, you did have 2 women's matches, and Willow's Stats match furthered the Willow Stokely Hathaway storyline, where Stokely said one of the funniest introductions I've ever heard. Which I'm actually now confused, because I thought he wanted Statlander as like a client, but seems like he wants her for romance, so we're gonna have to see where that goes. Then you have Sheeta versus Anna, and that was a good match, and I think it's great that Sheeta's actually still wrestling. They didn't have her just disappear, which is always the fear. And so like I think those 2 things, I know they weren't like the biggest in terms of groundbreaking wrestling, but I think it's important that those characters are released on TV regularly to help keep them in people's focus. The biggest problem AEW had in the past was you'd have someone like Sheeta or Statlander lose their championship and just never be back for like 6 months.
maybe the most intriguing thing for me about Rampage coming out of it was what they're going to do with the Hardys going forward. They kind of set it up with they had a backstage segment with Private Party, and it kind of gave me that not quite full heel, but like the old curmudgeon veterans who are want to be the people that they know what to do, follow their lead. But I feel like they could almost make him like a heel.
Yeah, you had that very.
like that.
They had that very condescending moment in the backstage segment with Private Party, because Private Party, of course, called out the Hardys, and when Quen made his return, and so yeah, that could be interesting. I'm intrigued to see it. I mean, we already kind of did the big money match, so you'll have to find us. I'd imagine you find a slightly different, twist on the character, but putting over the young guys, there are worse uses for the Hardys.
Yeah, and Private Party's a good start since Matt was so close with Isaiah for that run. Like that there's a natural story there. Going through some of our comments, I have to laugh. SJ doesn't get Collision up in Canada, so she's here to watch and listen. That is the biggest travesty of AEW, is that this show just doesn't make it up to Canada. Like, how does that work? They hopefully in their new deal they figure that out. Big G was pointing out that the second Death Star was about to blow up. Always a moment to stop and watch. And then Michael Kildare was saying the amazing Kurt Angle cameo from Stat. If that isn't love, that cameo was amazing. You like short guys with bad credit, with so credit scored. That again, I didn't think it was a romance thing at first, but apparently it's all about the romance. That's. And I'm gonna say this while we're sitting here. One day I want TNT to just play the original versions of Star Wars and not tell anyone they're doing
it. That'd be great.
Nothing special edition, just regular. But what do you? Anything you guys are excited for tonight more than anything else?
I would say, obviously, FTR House of Black is going to be fantastic. We established stakes for it. It wouldn't think anything like necessarily, but there's the whole angle of if House of Black wins, then FTR must forsake their.
Wow, you got that Cade internet. I heard about a third of that.
It's Malachi and Buddy.
Honestly, Kyle, I didn't hear most of that. Your internet cut out. Like I said, it was Cade.
Yeah,
Prime. That's impressive.
It's bad. Yeah, I'm even hardwired. I'm even hardwired in, and it's still doing this. That is horrifying.
You need a new internet service provider.
Badly, apparently.
Joe, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
I wasn't even sure what the card was, so I kind of had to look it up here. The Sting and Darby versus the Workhorsemen is intriguing.
I love that the Workhorsemen are on TV. They're so fun.
I mean, yeah, they're going to lose, but it's really great to see them on TV.
Sting may take his first loss to the Workhorsemen. You never know that.
That'd be great.
I think Eddie Kingston versus Trent is going to be a surprisingly good match for a lot of people. I don't think they recognize just how good Trent can be. Eddie is obviously Eddie. And we'll hear Adam Copeland's response for Christian Cage. And I'm very curious to see where they go with this, because this response is going to set up where this feud really goes, if they continue with it, or if they take a short break, or what they do, because clearly it's not a done feud. But are you going to let it be done for a little while or not? Let me know if you hear my TV by any chance. I turned it down pretty low, but
I wouldn't mind if I take a feud.
I'm very torn about the Adam Copeland feud, how it's going, because the feud itself has been very good. Adam and Christian have both been doing a tremendous job, getting everything over on the mic, getting over in the ring. It's all been great, but there's definitely a sense to me of we've done this before. Even if we haven't done it quite this way, we've done this before. And part of the attraction of Adam coming to AEW was all the new matchups, and so far we haven't hit that. And there's still time.
Yeah, I mean, Christian was a smart first feud because one, familiarity for Adam to get used to not being in the WWE style, which is slightly different, not much different, and two, because fans would just be wanting that the entire time he was around. So all you would have is people saying, "Where is Christian? Where is Christian? Where's the Christian feud?" And that would get kind of annoying. I think you had to address it some way. So we'll see. Do you guys watch while we're going through Saturday nights? All right. Did you guys watch Wrestle Kingdom at all?
No.
Yeah, I did. Oh, it was phenomenal. It was very much a tale of two shows. Did you get to watch it yet, Ryan?
No, but I've heard obviously I've heard Okada and Danielson was just a classic.
Absolutely, as you'd expect. That was in the semi-main, and that left Naito and Sonata to, all right, go follow that. And to their credit, they did. They went out and had an excellent match. And Sonata finally got the crowd. He'd been trying to earn the respect of the crowd for so long, and he finally earned it. And so it was a great moment. Naito got to have his roll call at the Tokyo Dome that Kenta robbed him of a few years ago. So, the first half of the show was just not even bad necessarily, just odd. It just didn't. It was perfectly solid, but it wasn't what you'd expect, I guess. But
oh
boy.
Oh, I didn't realize where they were tonight. So just to catch up, we'll talk more about Wrestle Kingdom because again, there's gonna be lulls and everything. Show has started. For anyone who's not watching, the show has started, and Workhorsemen are in the ring. So you think you're getting Sting and Darby, but no, they're in Charlotte, North Carolina. So you get Ric Flair.
And somewhere a hotel room is missing its curtains.
Yeah, but like curtains from 1975. Like these aren't even their current curtains.
No. So it just genuinely awful.
Are you like Scott George asked if would resetting your feed help at all, or do you think no?
I don't know. I could just bop out altogether and just reboot the whole darn thing and see if that does the trick.
I think it might be worth a shot because you are cutting in and out quite a bit.
Let's do that. All right, be back in a bit, gang.
See, Joe, that means we get to try out our new duo overlay. Whoa, what happened there?
You have to zoom out a little bit there, Ryan.
Yeah, well, now I got to fix my camera. You got me all screwed up. I don't know how to do that.
Can't zoom out?
Not quickly. I can. I got to figure that out. Guys, see, we're learning on the fly here. Meanwhile, Sting's getting hit by the chair.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, to take a hit from a chair. I
don't know. I kind of like this angle of you, Ryan. Like the full face and the full frame.
It's not. I mean, that's a little bit better. Of course, as soon as Kyle comes back, I'm gonna have to put my camera back to. Oh, green screen. Green screen. There you go. Put myself back to normal when Kyle joins. I'll play with this a bit when we're not actually live. So I'm laughing at Michael Kildare, Lucha superstar JD drank with a chair. Did you see him mimic who was it? Vikingo, was it? Or was it? I can't remember. Sorry for messing up names, but he did his funny role, so good for him. I love JD Drake. I like the Workhorsemen, for anyone who's not watching, who didn't watch Dark when it was on, rest in peace. And for anyone who doesn't really watch ROH, they're regular. They were regulars on Dark and they're regulars on ROH. It has Anthony Henry and JD Drake, who was in what are they called?
The Wingmen?
The wingman, thank you. Sorry, it's been so long. So they have a nice dichotomy in their team because Anthony Henry's like this real technical, really good, quick, fast wrestler. So you have the smaller guy, then you have the big, bruising JD Drake, and I kind of always like that because it's this mix of styles. You know, you have two guys, and it just presents a nice little difference in team. So and they are beating the hell out of Darby.
Oh yeah, they're not going to do that to Sting.
No, Sting. No offense, Sting couldn't take it at this point in his life. Scott, when Kyle comes back, just let us know if it's the same to you or not. We're trying to fix it. I mean, he had a little bit of a rough patch with some stuff today, getting his camera found and stuff. So it happens. Well, we're learning on the fly. So Sting is up on the apron though. At least he's ready for a tag.
Can't wait for his no sell and his chops.
I'm always torn on the no sell. Part of me loves it because he's Sting and he's a legend and that's what he does. And he used to do that when he was, in his prime, and that was part of his gimmick. But like now it's kind of like, I don't know if a 60-something-year-old man should be able to no sell. But I guess your whole thing is that Sting is not a man. He's like the Undertaker. There's something else. Michael Kildare saying Anthony Henry deserves a Pure Rules title shot. Yes. He would do excellent in the Pure division. I don't want him to leave the tag team, but he would do excellent in the Pure division. I remember a couple of years ago, this is almost at the beginning, I think, of AEW, when he got like his first dark match or something. He put on like he was going to retire if he didn't get signed or something. And I think he started getting booked so much that he rethought that. And I'm glad. He's too good of a wrestler. Oh, I always feel bad when that happens. Sting went to clothesline Anthony Henry over the rope and he didn't go. I always feel bad for the guys.
Coffin drop on Anthony's head.
Most painful. Oh, Kyle's back. That's my fault. I'm not paying attention. Hold on now. I got to fix her. Get us back to the 3. Where are you?
Almost.
Joe, what happened, Joe? Fix us, Joe. It's just me. Joe, this is all on you. I don't know how to fix this. There you go. All right, I don't even have to adjust my camera. That's perfect. So that match is over with Sting and Darby taking a loss. Now they got the win.
Yeah.
That kind of ended quickly. Am I the only one who thought like the Horsemen were dominating, and as soon as Sting got in, it was over?
I want to say I'm surprised, but not really. Although I did notice JD Drake taking a flare flop out of the corner there.
Oh, the Sting tour continues.
This is So while we wait as they walk out of the ring, back to Wrestle Kingdom. So you had Okada and Danielson where they even the series, and I'm glad they got that match because Danielson obviously breaking his arm in the middle, almost to be halfway through the first Okada match, threw everything off. You were never going to have the same ending. That is really cool for the kids. The kid is so distracted by Darby, he couldn't look at the camera at first. But you have Sting taking a picture with a kid with Sting paint and a Darby taking a picture with a kid with Darby paint. Gotta love it.
And Ric Flair doing something with some guy who's dressed like him.
Because only an adult's going to dress as Ric Flair at this point. But yeah, so they got to have the classic they deserve to have with Danielson losing, and then Mox lost in his match. What was it? A triple threat with Ospreay and Finlay?
It was.
All right.
Finlay, but Ospreay took the fall.
Yeah, I mean, either way,
Ospreay was the one that took the fall.
Ospreay went out on his back.
Well, he's not out yet. He did mention, I think it was after New Year Dash, that his last match for New Japan as a regular would be February 11th, and they're going to do a 5-on-5 cage match with Bullet Club War Dogs against the United Empire.
That'll be fun. But I'm still pointing out the 3 AEW guys lost. Which is
Yes.
fine. It just means when you have them come here, the New Japan's mostly going to lose, and when you have AEW go there, AEW is mostly, like, that's a good partnership.
Oh, Trent just did the best friends hand.
And it's not. And
It was so sad looking.
Because he was by himself.
Yeah.
It's like when a guy does a free throw, but there's technical, so he's the only one, and he goes around trying to slap high fives, and no one's on the court.
Sue.
It's Sue, guys. Anyone not watching? Sue is there.
Yes,
Which is to
Sue
show you
is
how big of
there.
a match this is.
Yep. Oh my goodness. And now we're having a flashback to All In, where Best Friends took on the Blackpool Combat Club.
We should have said Chaos founding member Sue.
Yes, true.
Yes.
Chaos, as we all know. So it's going to be
Honestly, I'm genuinely shocked that New Japan has a series of videos on their YouTube channel where they talk about the history of various factions. I must have watched the Chaos one 3 or 4 times at least, and they don't mention.
Well, Sue's like the background operator. You know, she doesn't want the
any
focus to be on her. Yeah, she doesn't want to be the focus. She's the background. Let everyone else take the acclaim, and she's the one, pulling the strings. I'm gonna be honest. I might have thought this would be the main. Well, no, FTR versus House of Black would be main. So never mind. I forgot about that match because this felt like a main event level match. It's for a belt or 3 belts. I'm not quite sure how the belt situation works.
I don't either. I'm confused of which belt Eddie's defending next weekend in the Battle in the Valley. Because some people say it's the Strong title, some people say it's the Continental belt.
I mean, if you want to do this right, when he's on AEW TV, it should be Continental. When he's on New Japan Strong, it should be their title. And when he's on ROH, it should be ROH. And they should never cross over. But I don't know. And Mike Kill's asking, do we get a furtherance of Trent's slow heel turn? Possibly. They are definitely teasing.
I wouldn't hate it.
Some kind of turn for him. Big G noting,
I will say
the referee only held up
the
Continental.
And Gabe Kidd in his comments at one point when he called out Eddie said in so many words, I don't care about the other titles. I want the Japan Strong title. Mm-hmm. So there's enough stuff that would imply to me that they're all technically separate. But
well, they
I've never
are
heard it
because they said
confirmed
that
one
right
way or
before.
the other.
No, they did. Right before World's End, they did. They said they could be defended separately. But they haven't explained to us, does it have to be specified that there's, like, it's a weird, like, if you beat the guy, or, like, unless specified differently, is it for all 3 or is it 4 singles? I think then you run into the thing, though, of, like, this is where this is on both New Japan and AEW, because you have guys in both companies, just someone should step in and say, we need to establish that it's one per, like, you have to defend each on their brand, or like what the deal is. Because
I think I remember that. I remember that when I'm watching Trent now in this match. When RJ City did mention that in the pre-show that they'd be separate, but to my recollection, Tony has never weighed in and specifically laid it down once and for all and said, this is how it is.
No, but it's based on the beginning of this match of them only holding up the Continental, them only referring to the Continental. It seems like that it became its own thing, which 4 men's titles in AEW is a lot. I said it on Wednesday. I guess the idea is that you're gonna split it in not formally, but like 2 belts can be regularly defended or addressed. It doesn't necessarily have to be defended, but at least addressed on Collision, and 2 belts can be regularly addressed on Dynamite. So at least you always have some champ floating around. That's the thought I'm giving it. I don't know if it's true or not, but
Yeah, it could be. And Big G makes another good point in the chat here about when FTR lost each of their titles, when they had the AAA Campeonatos de Parejas and the ROH tag titles, and and so on. And then the
you're going to
IWGP
see the
tag
descent of
titles.
Eddie Kingston.
Yeah,
You're going to
that's
see
the
Eddie
story.
Kingston fall apart.
That'd be great.
Oh, I love Eddie Kingston, but I'm here for him falling apart.
There's precedent here. I've watched the aftermath of Eddie losing a title, and it was wild. I go back to when he had the Chikara Grand Championship, and what a he wound up losing events, and eventually was so distraught over losing the title that he threw in with Jimmy Jacobs' group, and one of, if those unfamiliar with Chikara, there was almost always a threat every season that was some outsider invader group that was trying to take over the company. And one season, a whole bunch of them all just came together and merged into one giant super Legion of Doom group of evil. And Kingston was so distraught over losing the title that he threw in with them based on nothing other than Jimmy Jacobs promising, "You join us, I'll help you get the belt back." And he hated every one of them, but he didn't care because he needed the belt. And I doubt we're obviously not going to go down that same road again, but
yeah, I mean, he's going to start with losing one, and he'll be upset, but he'll be like, it's just one, I got to continue. And then he'll lose the second, and you'll start to see it. And then the third will happen, and he'll just fall apart. And either he'll fall apart and go completely psychotic, and just start hurting everyone.
Trent really busted open right over the bridge of the nose.
Yeah, that's the, what do they call that? The hard way?
Hard way, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Eddie with a big backdrop driver on the floor. Right in front of Sue, no less. Trent just bounced right in front of Sue.
Boy.
Like,
my baby boy. Now we have picture-in-picture. All right, I got to ask, what commercial do you guys have on?
Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
So do I, Joe.
Yes.
I was always curious if the picture-in-pictures had to be the same.
Good question. I'm guessing they sell for that particular time, right?
Yeah, I just, because like when you go to regular commercial, what'd you say?
Like the Domino's thing, right? It's like,
yeah, exactly.
With
but
the
like,
pizza cutter.
Yep, I got the Beekeeper, Big J. I got the Beekeeper. Yeah, because when you go regular commercials, like they're not always the same. It's sometimes the same nationals, but other times it's
regional. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't know if that happened here, and then Gina K coming and said that she loves Eddie Kingston. Yeah, a lot of people really love Eddie Kingston, and I think it's just because he comes off authentic.
He is the everyman.
He is. I just wish he was in much better shape. Get back into that conversation.
Claudio King. Oh, that could be a sleeper fun match if they give that some time. I don't know if you saw that on the graphics on the picture-in-picture there. Later tonight, we're also going to get Claudio Castagnoli against Andrew Everett.
Isn't Andrew Everett like 7 foot? Isn't that his gimmick?
Yes. Andrew the Giant.
See, I remember things. Yeah, I remember things.
My experience as far as commercials go, I got a Planet Fitness now, by the way.
I don't know what I have.
I have something with Megan Thee Stallion or someone.
It's Planet Fitness. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Now I've learned that we all get the same commercials.
Yeah. The more you know.
I did I did actually work briefly for the newsroom of a local CBS affiliate in my part of the country here for a little while. So I did get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes of how a lot of that stuff goes, and it's of course going to be different being a local affiliate like that, being a local network as opposed to a national like you got on TNT here. So I'm sure there's still going to be a few spots here and there that are reserved for local consumption, but the vast majority will be uniform.
Okay, that makes sense then. Man, Trent looks busted open.
Hi, guys.
Oh, we got a special person
Run
dropping
in.
Just a a quick one. Seeing how you guys are doing.
Doing fine.
Bigger than Trent's head.
But yeah, definitely.
Oh,
head.
yeah.
Is it on the bridge of his nose?
Oh,
It
gosh.
looks like.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, at least it's not below his nose, because then I'd be like, that's definitely broken.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks above the nose, so I don't think it's broken, but
Okay, that's good. So, gentlemen, how's everybody doing tonight?
doing fine. How are you doing?
Doing good. Doing stuff around the house, catching up. But I've got my eyes on Collision and the Collidercast. Congratulations, guys, on the first episode. Congratulations.
So when do we get our $1
Good
million
stuff. Thank you.
sponsorship deals?
When you sell a sponsorship, you will get your 4%.
My what percent?
4.
I don't understand that math.
It's not a math thing. You get 4%.
Yeah, how did we come to that figure?
That was what you signed. The paperwork said 4%. You didn't even argue for 5.
I didn't sign anything.
That you know of.
It's in your handbook with the NDA.
I didn't
Right.
get a
You've
handbook.
really
either.
you got to get Mark Sterling on this, man.
I didn't get a handbook or sign anything. Looks like my attorney's going to be contacting you, Ant.
The funny thing is Ryan gets 4%. Joe bartered for 10 and got it.
Wait, Ant, how much percent do you have?
Well, here's the weird thing. I have 60%. Joe has 10%. Ryan has 4. And then the remainder goes to Kate.
I don't think I don't.
I mean,
think-
that is
no.
that
my
is why
attorney's
he's
gonna be
Ant Money.
contacting you. Yeah, my attorney's calling you.
We have paperwork. It's all good.
I signed nothing.
We also have verbal handshakes. You agreed to this.
I verbally agreed to nothing.
Well, it's good because that's what you're getting paid, just like the rest of us. Nothing. Well, guys, I'm not planning on staying here. I guess we're back from commercial. I don't know. I don't have a TV in
We
here.
are, yes. Trent is climbing to
We
the top
are.
rope right now.
Well,
He's-
I'm gonna let you guys get back to talking through what's going on live on Collision on the very first Collider cast here.
ROH Tag Team Title Proving Ground match later tonight. The Undisputed Kingdom takes on Commander and Brian Keith.
Oh, I didn't know this was Ring of Honor television, but I'll take it.
Well, we also had
Oh,
a
it
pure
is. You didn't
title
know?
match. We had a pure title match on Rampage last night too. So God forbid any of those titles actually be on Honor Club.
The only ROH title that's not defended on AEW TV is the women's title, I think.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
If I can be real with you guys, so when I was at Dynamite Wednesday night, they were doing the Rampage taping, and I saw the Hardys and Briscoe versus Kip and the Butcher and the Blade.
Mhm.
The disappointing thing there is that Mark Briscoe came out in a Devil's jersey, but since it was filmed for TV, that was not filmed as part of the television experience.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Well, that's
I mean, it
and-
is disappointing that he would wear a Devil's jersey. That's such a mistake.
I don't know about that. And then I saw Willow. I saw Willow and Chris Stat and Stoke. I saw that whole thing. And then what's that?
I was gonna say, Ryan, I wore my shirt tonight because of our guest. Okay, I tried to
I
play.
saw what your shirt is.
Quite nice for Kyle.
And so,
Yeah, there you go.
all right, I'll let you have the Red Wings. And then I saw Anna Jay enter, and then as soon as I saw the graphic for Sheeta on the screen, I got up and walked out. I was like, I'm done. So I didn't even know I was going to see a pure
And-
title.
Did you at least go and get some chicken tenders like Kate, or?
I
No,
did
he
that
just leaves.
before the show. I did that before the show, but I literally did just leave. I was like, Sheeta, fuck this, I'm out.
Your hatred of Sheeta is unfounded.
I got up, I put on my jacket, I went to the merch booth to get big foam scissors for mini money. And then I left. I thought about waiting and seeing what came on next, but I didn't.
Trent with a cradle pile driver. I don't remember the last time I ever saw him break one of those out. Sorry to interrupt there. I'm actually watching the show too. So
no, you guys should be doing that instead of listening to me jibber jabber. So I did want to come and say congratulations, Ryan and Joe. You've done it. You've done it.
We've done it.
No, Ant,
But you will be hearing from my attorney on my 4%.
No.
You're available next Saturday, Ant?
No, I will be seeing Tool in Madison Square Garden, and I'm staying over, so I will be in no condition to host anything.
All right.
Well,
find
gentlemen,
someone for Ryan. We'll find someone for Ryan this week.
we can't
Why, you
bail
got-
on you.
You bailing on me, Joe?
I'll be at San Jose.
Oh, that's right. I'll find someone. I got people. I'm not without my resources.
Find your lawyer.
Yeah, my lawyer will be on.
Oh, all right, guys. Well, have fun the rest of this show. Congratulations again, and I'll see you guys Wednesday night. All right.
See you Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Bye, gang.
thanks for dropping in, Ant.
Yeah, I was waiting for Joe to fix the bag. I'm like, I'm not gonna be responsible for the banners. Joe made them.
Well,
Yeah, for
Ryan is-
anyone watching, be like,
Ryan
hey,
is abs-
these are fancy. Wait, what
they
happened?
are. Ryan is absolutely correct, though, that this has been excellent. I mean, we all expected it to be, but there's definitely, like you said, some section of people that aren't really aware of just how good Trent actually is, and he is showing out here. But he
Trent is
just got dusted with the Hurricane and Northern Lights bomb.
Trent would be a great singles wrestler, except I just want him with Chuck. Like I like them as a tag team. It has nothing to do with, but he's an awesome wrestler.
Yeah.
And he was signaling for another Northern Lights bomb.
There you go.
Oh, hi.
And Eddie
Angle
Kingston
two.
for the win.
That felt like a main event.
Did
It did feel like a main event. It's tremendous.
And in case anyone in the chat, in case you guys missed it, someone threatened me in the chat to throw me off the boat when I go on my cruise in a couple weeks. So if I don't come back, just know it was Gina K. And I know Gina. I don't know if she wants her full name. So just Gina threatened me, but her husband Mike's saying he'll help me. So we'll see what happens. But I just want to put it out if I end up overboard.
They're doing the Lord's work.
Listen, I think Gina's too nice to throw me overboard, so I think I'm okay.
That's right. You and your 4. If you go over, then I get 14%.
So, no, I mean knowing Ann, he'd be like, "No, I have 64 now."
I mean, you'd have to check Joe's paperwork. He may well have finagled something that if something falls anybody else in the groove.
Statland just casually has an iguana on her shoulder.
Yeah, if you don't hear me talking, it's because I'm listening.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about just the casual one. Okay. Willow is doing entirely too much talking to the camera. I'm befuddled as to why not more attention is not being paid to the iguana. I'm kind of speechless right now. Wish I wish that I could get closed captioning to work on my TV.
I really wish
That
they
would
just
help.
like she
That would help
said.
tremendously.
I really wish they had taken the never even asked Moose how he felt, because I thought it would have been hilarious if they just never acknowledged the iguana.
Yeah.
And Gina, first of all, I'm allowed to judge Eddie Kingston since I am in worse shape, but also I wasn't actually judging him. I was more judging people who care. You know.
Yeah. That whole discourse pops up every couple of days, it seems like, and it's always gross and dumb. Like,
Well, there was that wrestler, not wrestler. There was that pro fighter, and I can't remember his name. But I don't know if he won a UFC heavyweight title, but he was like a real contender for it for a while. And he was not well built at all. It was the guy who would rub his belly after he knocked someone out or won. So, like, there's proof that you can look like you're not, working out 6 hours a day and still be awesome. Not to mention, he puts on just great matches like he just did, and you can't do that. Then you're if you're in bad shape. So those people just need to shut up. Big Country, Big G point out, Big Country. That was who used to do it. And then Scott George, by the way, saying, if that doesn't scream get a Geico sponsorship, TK, I don't know what does. Truly, Scott. I mean, I know Stat just owns the iguana, but that is like, go and make it happen.
Also, I like how you're saying that Gina wouldn't throw you over, but apparently she would throw you over.
Listen, I again, Gina's probably 5'1". I got physics
Low
are
center
on
of
my
gravity,
side.
leverage.
Physics are on my side on this one.
If she's only 5'1", her hips are lower than yours. That's just a quick scoop of the lower leg.
Yeah, but there's a matter of getting my feet off the ground.
Brotherly shove. Get in there low.
I'm telling you guys, there's a physical thing here that just doesn't play in her favor. And Mike, who was her husband, said Butterbean. That's another guy. He was a boxer who was big. I mean, granted, he didn't always box the best in the world, but it was proof that like
pro wrestling before the Vince McMahon era, when everyone was like big guys, but they weren't shredded.
Or when people looked like Arn Anderson, and they looked like a guy you'd meet at the local watering hole who could beat you up on a whim and just.
And Gina is 5'3" and took jujitsu so she could throw you. Gina, if you could throw me, I would feel very good about myself, because I just, having taken jujitsu myself and wrestled, know that you're unfortunately your back would go out first. It's not me being great. It's not a compliment on myself here. Oh, hook.
Yeah. So we've got so.
Oh no, I'm going for Joe.
I mean, he's not going to get to Joe, but I love that.
Well, I mean, he might, but he's going to get killed by Joe.
Oh yeah, I mean, he might actually have a match, but good. Let Hook talk. Let him start to have some real stuff going on. I feel bad that I love Bounty Keith. Like, Jesus, man, he's got such a cool gimmick.
And with Commander is an interesting choice. I mean,
well, this is clearly
if he was healthy, Bandito is right there.
Well, yeah, I can't wait till Bandito comes back.
And didn't he say on social media the other day that he had another surgery on the wrist, but that the second one went well?
Yeah,
did I not hear something to that effect?
The timing on that though. No one seems to really be sure of like what that means. At least no one that's come out and said it. There might be people that know, like Sean or Cass might actually have an idea of what it really means, but they're not going. If they're not.
to the Kingdom.
I'm gonna be honest.
Like,
Roddy
as
isn't as pretty as Maria.
No, absolutely not.
Prettier.
But if you listen to ROH, Maria is off recording her new album, so
She has a great wrestling mind. She's awesome.
100%.
And so when Gina's pointed out in the chat, so when Kate and I go on our cruise, the Jericho cruise, I know that sounds weird, but we're both going on the Jericho cruise. We're not going together type deal, just to not make it weird for her. On the cruise, Commander and Vikingo are going, and that's a moving boat. I'm not quite sure
Yes.
how that's going to play out for them.
We're gonna walk the rails.
There you go. And
I
actually,
mean,
because-
I saw guys do rope stuff there before, so it's possible. It's just, oof. And then Mike saying we need Bandito, Brian Keith, and Hangman. Yeah, we need like an old Western episode where those three just have like a
Outlaws.
yeah. Well, he's the bounty hunter, so what we need is Hangman and Bandito. Well, actually, the storyline, take out Hangman for a second. Well, we'll bring him back in at the end. Bounty Keith has to hunt down Bandito and then brings him to Hangman.
well,
Yeah,
because
just the whole
Bandito is
story.
most wanted.
Yeah, he's a bandito. And Bounty Keith is a bounty hunter. Brian Keith is bounty hunter Keith. And Hangman is a hangman. So I got it all figured out, guys.
Who's the lawman in
Love
this situation? We don't have a lawman.
Well, Hangman is the bounty hunter Brian Keith is the lawman. He's a bounty hunter. And he brings them to Hangman because Hangman acts as the judge, jury, and executioner.
Sure.
That is how it happened in the Old West.
Exactly. Taven looks like slightly less of a magician in the black and gray with the white glove with the gray gloves as he did in the purple. And
Yeah, it's weird to see him not have purple on.
Yeah, I was noticing that.
George literally just
they
said the
ditched
same
the color
thing.
scheme.
I kind of am glad they ditched that color scheme.
I'm surprised they at least have like purple gloves or something.
I mean, it worked. It worked for him. It was fine, but we're clearly going with a much more serious setup moving forward, which presumably means less of Michael Bennett talking about punching people in the wiener, things
Still
like
effective.
that. I won't argue that at all. And I continue to be. This is also not doing a lot to allay my concerns that even though the tag titles are on the Kingdom, they're still not going to be spending a lot of time on Honor Club. Because now the angle is too big and so on and so forth. And
So I hate to say, this is my feeling on the whole what ends up on Honor Club, what doesn't end up on Honor Club type deal. They're going to have to, when AEW renegotiates, like obviously they're kind of in the process of doing it now, but when they renegotiate their rights deal, in my opinion, and I know nothing about TV and all, this is just, to me, the way it looks like they're trying to do it. Until they get paid for Ring of Honor, like get really paid for it more than Honor Club pays them, you're not going to see more attention paid to it. If they got they're not getting the whatever NXT got, but if they got enough there to at least cover the salaries of Orlando tapings and stuff, then you'll start to see more attention paid. That's just my humble opinion.
that's entirely possible. It feels a little bit like you're dealing with a chicken or the egg scenario too, where you're not getting subscribers because nothing important happens. So there's no need to watch it. And but then you're not putting stuff on the show because you don't have subscribers. But you're not having subscribers because you're not putting stuff on the show. And round we go.
So I think like they have so it's actually, I don't know who said in the chat, Mike said in the chat, but I was gonna say like they tape a lot of all of ROH after Collision. So
Yes.
a lot of the guys here will do double duty, or they'll bring it, and that's great, grand, and wonderful. But you're having empty arenas. You're like none of it works for ROH. The best they did was when they were in Orlando, where they could bring these guys down and just tell different stories. And again, you have to make enough money to justify that expense, and I don't think. But
Probably
they
not.
would do it with Dark and Elevation, so I don't quite understand. I almost wish, like, I know people are saying think YouTube. I almost wish they had just put it on YouTube.
Well, you had the catalog that you could monetize, which
true.
is great. But you're not getting $10 a month for that catalog, for better or for worse. You're just not. So you needed to have something there in order to justify that expenditure, which the show is. It's decent most weeks. It's nothing spectacular. I think their best move thus far was putting Final Battle on there.
Oh yeah,
And that should be the case moving forward. That should now be the norm. Once you get to Super Card of Honor in March or April, there, whenever they run that should be there as well.
yeah. It's just I don't know, like you said, chicken or the egg type deal. The only reason I said YouTube was just to get as many people watching it as possible. Bring some over. Also, you can monetize it. You can
Yeah.
monetize it, so that helps. There's a whole list of things you could do, but I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't. I don't know if they obviously I don't think they'd get the same amount of views that they got for Dark and Elevation, but they were getting 100,000, 200,000. I don't know 100,000. They were getting like 230 to 300,000 views a week on our Elevation and then Dark, separate, like not combined. It's a lot of views a week. You could get some monetization.
Oh,
You could get
that's
some
slick.
sponsors. That's very slick.
I liked that. That
We'll see.
that elevated complete shot floating right over into the almost crossface with the arm capture. And this is me being the ROH guy again, but Taven does not get enough credit for. Taven takes a lot of blame for his ROH World Title run that I don't feel like he deserves. The matches were always solid, and ultimately that was such a dead period for ROH because it was right after or close to the departure of the Elite. ROH was struggling mightily to find their identity, and I don't think it would have mattered who was on top at that point. Taven just happened to be the unlucky guy who was there. And all of a sudden, he's not a draw. He's a terrible top guy. He's this, he's that. And I thought Taven did excellent work as champion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest Taven guy, but I'm sure I'm not arguing any of that since you know more about ROH than I do. It just, that time was never going to make money. But what sucks is someone like Brian Keith would be perfect in ROH because even though he's done some regular AEW stuff, I don't see him getting more than this for a while. And it's like, what the hell are they doing?
He's going to stand up on Keith's
Oh my
shoulders and into a superplex.
Oh my God, that was impressive.
Wow.
The only thing I would have liked to have seen a little bit different there is if they could have like pretended Brian Keith was holding Taven.
But Brian Keith isn't that tall.
No.
So it's not much different than just doing it off the turnbuckle. So that's why it would have like a lot of show for nothing.
I mean, he's taller than the turnbuckle, though.
Yes.
I agree with you, Joe, but I'm going to give him the doubt.
That
he's taller than the turnbuckle. His shoulders aren't that much higher than them.
That was a hell of a clothesline.
And Bennett too, for that matter. Bennett has. And
I
there's
love
a
Mike
pile
Bennett.
driver and just the tip with Taven. And I'm not sure what the power bomb elevated combination there.
That was a hell of a
Nice
match.
little finish.
Good. So the guys who will no longer be on ROH TV are still your ROH tag champions.
Well, this was just a proving ground match. It is
You're right. Sorry.
10-minute time limit, or go the time limit, or beat the champs and earn a future shot. And Roddy has now completely done away with the neck brace. We've completely eliminated that part of the angle. So I don't hate that.
He's
Well,
healed.
it's because he was faking it.
He healed.
This is just ludicrous lies and slander. I don't know why you don't care about neck health.
Let me get the trio match here, right? Between their claim and
Probably.
DC Gold.
That's the assumption.
The Gang Bang Gang.
I appreciated the idea of these two kind of finding themselves saving each other in the wake of the Undisputed Kingdom beatdown, just because of they all of them having reason to want to get at Cole and the Kingdom. Like I appreciate the idea that just because the ones are faces, ones are heels, it's still, the motivation still made sense, and I appreciate when my wrestling does that.
Sorry, I'm just happy to be listening.
I agree with you, Mike, in the comments. I would prefer the trio title on Bullet Club. Interesting. Interesting.
Ooh, that was a wrinkle I didn't see coming.
So we pitched an alliance here. Is that what I'm gathering
He
here?
did in a very logical way. Instead of just being like, "Oh, we both dislike this person, so we're best friends." Like, I'm okay if they both dislike them and they fight them and they don't become best friends. But this was more like, "Hey, to get ahead here, you have to be in a faction."
And Scott George makes a good point with I'm tired.
Tired of the Acclaimed. I'm not tired of the Acclaimed, but
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, that was not where I was going with that. I read the wrong comment, one down. Brendan's, I miss Juice. Because Juice was injured last I recall, was he not? I
he's
don't
very
remember what
injured. He hurt his back.
that was it. So he's probably, I haven't heard anything on even an estimated time
No,
for
with the
him.
back, they can't. I don't think. I think they're, until you're sure, you keep that one in your back pocket. But yeah, Scott, I still like the Acclaim, but I get if you're over them because they haven't been doing anything new, which I will say is true. Like there hasn't been a really good feud for them. There hasn't been. This would be the first thing of real interest, where it's like, are we going to get, as Gina calls it, the Scissor Club?
That was good.
I was thinking the Scissor Herd of the Traveling Pants.
And Joe for the win.
That'd be a heck of a faction. They refine themselves.
Scissor me and bang bang, daddy.
Ooh, I want to clip that one out. There's our short.
There it is. Yep, put that.
Watch Collision Collidercast for
that gold.
Ryan's thirst traps.
But yes, I'm with Brendan. Juice's presence does add a lot. He just adds that. Well, he just has that it factor that adds almost an air of unpredictability. He's solid in the ring, and he's a guy who draws your eyes every time.
It's not Juice though; it's the real one we're missing, a Card Blade. I think that's the bigger loss.
That's true. And and Scott again about they do need to change it up a bit. I think that could be that's sort of something that Ryan talked about a second ago of just there hasn't been a lot for them with the trios titles of late. And I don't know if that means you need to take the titles off them or what, but they've got to figure something out because the live crowds still love them.
Sounds like a good time to maybe turn heel in.
I do not do upside down pineapples.
Well, I heard.
I'm just saying what I saw in the chat. Is he wrestling? Is Adam Copeland wrestling?
It certainly looks that way.
I think it's promo, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's in full on wrestling gear. I mean, I know some
He's
guys
got
cut promos in gear, so
You're gonna have
I mean,
someone-
there's no official in the ring, but he's got.
yeah. So I
he's
guess
got
it's
his,
just a promo.
he's got his wrists and his hands taped. He's got elbow sleeves on.
Yeah, I mean, I like when guys do, like, if they're not expected to wrestle and they come out for promo. I like when they're just in regular clothes. There's a believability to that. Like, you're not going to get full dressed in gear if you're not wrestling.
Why is there garland on that rated R superstar sign?
No, that'd be seen.
So, a little bit of a recap.
I hope he's growing his hair back out.
I mean, it's entirely possible. There could be a bit of a rough middle ground there, but
He's going through an early mullet stage right now.
well, so yeah. So
I was always taught to work smarter, not harder.
that's what I always recall. But
Okay, now the gear makes sense.
yep, open challenge.
I mean,
He works hard.
maybe he should see a doctor.
I do not collide hard.
Scott, so one LT photo is at the show. He's wearing a Mark Order shirt. I know that for sure.
Well, we collide softly here.
Ooh, who's going to be?
I don't hope it's Danhausen.
Angelico.
Oh, it's Maria.
Hey,
See, much better than Roddy.
is it Griff? Oh, it's Griff. I
Who the
love
fuck is that
this.
guy?
I've been saying for months and months and months that Griff Garrison reminds me, his physicality reminds me of a really young Adam Copeland, circa 1997 or 98. The way he moves around the ring, even the long hair, the physical, like it gives me so many young Edge vibes, and I kind of love this.
Wait, Gina, when did Copeland say he wanted to work Griff?
I did read that in an interview somewhere.
I do remember seeing an interview where he name dropped Griff at one point. I couldn't tell you if you put a gun to my head where it was, but I do remember reading that someplace.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I will not hear any ill spoken of Maria and her baby boys. That whole bit on ROH kills me week in, week out. It's amazing.
I love
Cole
that bit.
Cole Carter as the complete himbo who's dumb as a box of rocks, but is just the willing puppy dog for Maria is just amazing. I love every bit of it.
But do you blame him?
Absolutely not.
Wasn't that what Flip Gordon did?
I wasn't
Well-
watching that, so I couldn't tell you.
Well,
That's
Flip
what
Gordon
he did.
has a lot of other problems.
Sure. Or like that the himbo character who followed around Brandy for a while.
He may well have. I have deep concerns that this is just going to be a squash, but I'm
Oh, yeah.
hopeful that that's not the case.
I don't know. I don't think if Edge says he wants to work a guy, I don't know if I see him just squashing him. Edge, Copeland, whatever. I'll never say.
Edge Copeland. Yeah.
I'll just go with Adam Copeland. He'll always be.
I was just talking to a buddy of mine tonight about how jarring it still is to see him be here with functionally no change to his presentation.
No,
I mean,
very much,
the
very
name,
little.
the name is the name, and that's about it. But it still becomes so jarring.
No, he fits. He is fit well.
Yes.
It's actually why I think they probably not besides the fact that, like I said, people will be begging for the Christian thing. It's probably, like I said, another reason they started with Christian, someone he's comfortable with, to be like, hey, it isn't that different. There is some differences. Let me help you get used to them, but then otherwise, it's not. It's
Classic.
Oh.
And and then Cole on the other side. Tremendous.
I mean, I'll be honest. So far, granted, they've all been really against Christian. Copeland has had good matches. I mean, he's just been.
Oh.
Sexton Hardcastle joke.
Oh, Nigel.
Oh my God! Did you saw that on Rampage as well into Kennedy Hardcastle?
Yeah, Kennedy Copeland became Kennedy
Because she
Hardcastle.
normally goes by Copeland, and
Yeah. Good for her.
that is
She's a huge Edge fan.
And that is the kind of inside baseball silliness that I am all on board with. That's tremendous stuff. Feels like a little Easter egg.
See, what I like about someone like Copeland when he's wrestling here, and there's a couple other guys who do it. Eddie Kingston does it to an extent. Like they have a slower pace, but there's a lot of story around it, which is nice because then you have those matches where they're much faster and there's a little less story. And I think you need the balance to keep people entertained.
You know you love the story.
Well,
They do, and this is
like,
the
that
story
being
so
said-
far was Copeland's better straight up, but Griff Garrison cheats.
That being said, I don't think that necessarily speed and story are mutually exclusive either, though.
They're not, but they do. There tends to be the very best make them work well together, but there's a lot of it is less story, more show.
Yes, I'll agree with that. Oh man, little face buster there for 2 by Garrison. Nice little back suplex into a face buster.
I wonder if I liked whatever that was. Threw him down
Nice.
backwards. It was like a reverse.
He's had that in his repertoire for as long as I've been seeing him wrestle.
Does he really? I don't remember him doing that.
Oh yeah, he's had that as a transition forever. At one point, it might have even had a name. I don't remember it, but Flapjack, love it. Oh, it's
I
good
like
stuff.
that a lot.
Baseball
So, for
slide.
anyone who's wondering what I'm reacting to, Griff Garrison threw Copeland into the ropes, and he slid under and kicked Carter, which was just
Yeah,
a
well-
very nice move.
Really smooth little baseball slide there.
Yeah, very smooth.
Crossbody for a good near fall there.
So, part of the reason is I might not remember it as one of Edge's or Copeland's moves or whatever you want to say is when he was at his peak, I wasn't watching.
Mm.
So, like, I knew him Attitude Era, and then I knew him when he came back. They're like my two real, like, I've seen some of his other matches, but like not regularly.
Garrison counters a spear with a big time rolling elbow for 2. Great stuff there.
I always thought out of
He,
Out
need,
of the
he needs to
Varsity
go,
Blondes.
he needs to
I
go
always
learn
thought
under Chris Hero so he can KO with his elbows.
No one could do that but Chris Hero, but I always thought out of the Varsity Blondes that Garrison was the better of the two.
Better
At very least, he had the most upside.
Yeah.
He didn't have the character work that Pillman had. I thought Pillman was obviously better on the mic and had a little bit more.
I
Well,
don't know if he
It was
was,
a
but
low bar. It was a low bar. Garrison needs a little bit of a refresh of his look or something. Whether it's
that's why I like the thing he's doing with Maria, because I think it's going to lead to that.
he still looks like the same like
Superplex,
white meat baby
Impaler,
I think he's a much better wrestler though than
that quick.
and into a crossface.
Yeah,
but I've never seen the arm pulled up like that before. That was unique.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was just a weird thing or if that was an actual stylistic choice. Cole Carter in after the match with a big drop kick. Got
His
those
Tims.
Got those Tims right up into Copeland's face.
He did a 450 but
Oh.
missed, but he definitely landed his 1 foot on Copeland's back.
And gets speared anyway.
Tims are heavy.
Tims are heavy.
Oh, it was a solid
Brendan
little
Haney
competitive
saying-
match.
I enjoyed it for being out of nowhere. Brendan
Yeah.
Haney saying he thought Pillman seemed like he never got any better. That was kind of my thing. I think they gave Pillman a couple chances to thrive, and it just didn't happen. Now, that's not to say he in NXT can't become something. Sometimes change of scenery is all you need.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
forcing him not to be Brian Pillman Jr. or having him not be Brian Pillman Jr. helped him. And that's
Yeah, I think that became a handicap after a while.
Well, that's such a tricky thing that you'd have to manage as a booker is how much do you really want to put into a guy? Like, there's always the question of if you sustain the push a little bit longer, it might have worked. But how do you know you're not throwing good money after bad? At what point do you cut bait? And there's no easy answer to that.
My thought here watching this little backstage segment with Sting and Darby and Ric Flair, I feel like for the final match, I mean, at some point Ric Flair needs to have face paint.
I mean, I would just prefer he not be on my screen.
Sure.
Yes.
I hope, yeah.
I mean, at the Greensboro Coliseum, at some point, he's got to turn on Sting one last time, right?
Last Scorpion returns.
And then RoboCop comes out to save Sting.
Oh,
and
that'd be great. Please.
Let's do it. Let's make this happen.
RoboCop. Shockmaster.
So we've got the Shock Master.
And And he just called Darby Allin the best tag team partner he ever had, and somewhere Lex Luger just shed a single tear.
I mean, I think he won belts with Luger, so it's harder to say, but I think he's lost less with Darby.
Definitely, that's true. Oh man,
He gets the face paint does such wonders for him
yeah.
because it hides his age.
Is it me or does Darby Allin just look deeply uncomfortable with all of this?
Correct. And then Nigel, who forgot to give Granddad his meds.
And see, there it is, Scott George. Flair looks like he made his living room curtains into a suit. See, there we go.
What does Sky
Spot
Blue have
on.
on her head?
Her hair.
No, is it like a jewelry crown thing?
I think so.
Okay.
She had
And,
some sort of a weird black spiked crown when she first debuted the darker look.
It's still kind of a workshop, I think, in progress, trying to figure out what her dark ring attire is supposed to be.
Well,
But she's not part of the
And-
House of Black, so she just
No. And Gina, Shockmaster was not a stormtrooper. I mean, even if he was, I am allowed to boo him then because you boo stormtroopers.
valid.
I love Kiera Hogan.
on period.
You know what? It's no. This should be this could be a lot of fun too, depending on how much time they get. And we're look, we do remember that things actually happen on Ring of Honor television. That's fun. As the resident ROH shill, I reserve the right to be bitter about the status of Ring of Honor. Did see somebody with a PPA all day shirt in the front row there. Somebody repping Pretty Peter Avalon
You should always be repping Pretty Peter Avalon.
all day. Also, he had a tremendous outing with Dalton Castle on Ring of Honor this week as well. As Dalton continues to grieve and mourn over the losing the TNT title shot and losing at Survival of the Fittest, and the last couple weeks on Ring of Honor, he's come out and has done his entrance at half speed with messed up hair. The first week he was drinking a cup of coffee. The second week he had a sandwich. Like, it's just tremendous. Because the people need more Dalton Castle on their TV.
I agree. Dalton gets some of the loudest pops when he's in the. Oh, I like that. The Sky Blue's got this like collar thing on. Just put your finger in the little thing there and pull it. She's right on the ground.
It feels like Gorilla Monsoon when he was watching IRS back in the day in the early '90s WWF, and would complain all the time that he was wearing suspenders, and why didn't anyone just pull them, or because he was wearing a tie, and why didn't anyone just pull it?
Exactly.
And I think
she has this collar with the hoop on it. Just pull the hoop.
And I think it was Bobby Heenan, because of course it was Bobby Heenan that observed, well, the tie's probably a clip-on anyway, so it would just come off. It became a whole discussion. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but I really enjoy Kiera Hogan. I don't think she gets enough credit for how good she can be.
No. And Kevin Kelly dropping her Kiera Hogan's no DQ match with Athena in that feud they had in ROH last year, which was just
at the start of Athena's awesome run, yeah.
And And I mentioned it on social media after she debuted on Dynamite this week. I know Deonna Purrazzo has come in and has been talking Tony Storm, but if we could get a slight detour and get Deonna versus Athena, that would be fantastic. I would be.
I have I'm going to tell you my problem with that is that they clearly don't seem ready to let the ROH Women's Champion up in AEW.
No, and you don't want Deonna to eat that loss.
Yeah, that's my problem. So either Deonna wins it and then never is up in AEW, which I guarantee what they probably just signed her for, you're not going to do, or she eats a loss. Either way, you're not going to have it.
Yeah. At some point, the match has to happen. I won't be upset if it doesn't happen right away, but it absolutely needs to happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, I want Athena on AEW more. Like, I don't think she's killing it in ROH. My favorite champ, I think, right now. But my favorite champ, I'm talking across the board right now. But
This has been good stuff.
How do you feel about them not really announcing much of the cards until the day before the day of? I feel like half the card wasn't known until the last 12 hours.
For tonight's show, for Collision?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't mind it necessarily. I'd prefer to have it in advance as best you can, and as a promoter, that's what helps you sell the show. But
I think you need to hit the big segments. If you can put them out ahead of time, you'll be fine. But if you're not hitting, if you're like not hitting the big ones, then you're gonna struggle.
You think they'll ever do anything with Kiera Hogan, or just use her as like a good hand?
Thus far, it seems like she's been just used as a good hand. I don't know if there's plans down the line to make her more than that.
Which is a bummer, because I feel like they do that to her. They do it to, like, they kind of did to Diamante for a long time. They do have her stick her into matches that she could be a threat but never win.
I'm actually not sure. Do we know if Kira's actually signed?
She's probably on one of those tiered deals, like per appearance type deals that they signed.
Right. That was kind of my assumption.
My thing is, like, the problem is they've only in the last like 6 months really been booking the women's division better. It's hard to utilize someone like Kira because you have so many talents you got to use. I mean, you're not booking enough. If they start putting on more matches and start maybe tag team feuds, maybe bring in tag team belts, it becomes much more likely that she gets a shot.
You also now have a ROH Women's World Television title.
Yes,
coming into play as well.
Her best bet is ROH, is to somehow hook onto something in ROH that people really dig, and they can leverage that elsewhere. Like Athena. Athena did it in AEW, but really made her bones in ROH with it. Like Athena, like Billy Starks has been a hit in ROH.
Yes.
You make your bones down there. I say down because I don't think it's a dip, but you make your bones there, and then when you have to put them on mainstream TV.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what ROH always was. I was a fan of the promotion. It's been my favorite promotion. It always is. But at the end of the day, that's what it was. There was always a sense amongst at least the rational portion of the fan base that said, well, let's enjoy this person while they're here, because it's not going to be for long, because WWE is going to come calling, or TNA is going to come calling, or and that was
I mean,
always the way it was.
That's the thing. If ROH is run the way we all envision it, which would be properly, you'd have someone like Athena down there just because they have nothing for her on AEW, and like go down there, kill it, help get the younger, the people that need to get some stuff over, and then you'll lose at some point, you'll come back up. But then you have someone like Kira who should be like, we don't have anything like you. The people you're not utilizing on main AEW should be down there being utilized a lot, and then some people should just be down there to help pop the young crowd up.
Yeah. Well, and this is something that I've talked about it. I think Kate's talked about it on her show with Reg on Fightful as well, that we need to have a dedicated roster. It's killing me to not have it. But I don't want this to turn too much into an ROH show either, because Kira and Sky are killing it here.
They're absolutely destroying it here, but I mean, it's a watch along. We can talk whatever because when I see a cool move, I talk. But and both of them, though, let's be fair here. You just
roll through
TKO. The Dragon Sleeper.
Submission.
Nice.
Like using a little bit of conversation between the two of them. I don't know if anybody noticed that. But to talk ROH, Kira's mostly down there and killing it. Sky Blue spent a bunch of time down there killing it. Like,
yeah,
there is something to be said to keep giving them their reps down there.
Sky Blue had a great match with Athena. She and Athena had a great title match a month or two ago.
She makes me feel old. Her like Julia.
As old as you let yourself feel.
Joey Starks.
Well, I let myself feel very old whenever I, hear both of my knees crack and wake up with back and neck pain and all the fun stuff.
Are you MJF? Who are you?
No, I'm just a man in his 40s whose body is slowly starting to decay. It's good times. I 0 out of 10. Do not recommend.
Oh, a Serena Deep thing again.
The straitjacket is such an odd, very literal choice for these.
This is the same vignette that ran last time.
Looks like it.
Like I get. Yeah, I think it's the same. I think it's the exact same one.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad she's back. She's so good in the ring. So
like,
her, you have her, Deanna now, Tony, Willow, Statlander. We just saw Sky Blue. Obviously Athena's in ROH, and I'm of the belief that until it's reported otherwise, that you'll eventually have Mercedes. Like, you have a stacked division.
100%. I think it was Sean. Sean has said Sean Ross Sapp has said she's expected to be in ROH. In AEW. Andrew Zarian has said similar things too. Like, respected reporters.
Yeah, and I mean, until it's 100%, you always give that, like, because they hedge too. They're like, things,
yeah,
but
of
like,
course.
It seems pretty. You two keep talking. I'm going to step away for about 10 seconds to grab something.
Go ahead. That's what, and you know this following sports as well, Joe. That the reporters of every sport do that. A free agent is expected to sign with this team. This team is expected to go into conversations with so and so for their new coaching vacancy. Like, I don't know why there are people that hold wrestling to a different standard here.
Maybe it's still that weird, like the predetermined nature. Actually, it's weird when you come back, Brian. That scares me. That predetermined nature of wrestling gives people that weird thing of like, it's not what they consider the quote unquote legitimate professional sports of, soccer, Major League, NFL. So it's not their sports handling and free agency is not the same. I have no idea. I mean, it's all athletes signing contracts. They have agents. I don't get it.
Yeah, I agree. Broken down to its level, it's the same thing.
There's also how do I say this? For whatever reason in sports, people understand that it's not easy to make these contacts and be talking to these guys and get these stories. But in wrestling, everyone thinks it's easy to do it. So then they are almost like, how dare you? Or I don't know if easy is the term. It's just they're very jealous, I guess is the term. It was what I'm trying to say. Why isn't it me? Why am I not the one doing it? Why am I, So jealousy turns to hate very quickly.
Hate turns to the dark side.
Well, some would say that that's just a skewed way of looking at things, Kyle. I can extend life forever. But no, I'm just saying, the things I read about, when Schlong or Cass or anyone breaks a story, and every time I read the people complaining, it's always very much reads to me as like, oh, you wish you were talking to wrestlers. You wish you were in the know.
Oh,
But you also think it's easy. They also think it should just be possible.
Oh, I have zero contacts. Zero. Absolutely none. I am not a news breaking person. I don't know anybody. I'm just happy to get on here and occasionally talk about this weird thing that we all love so much, and inexplicably people care.
I'm with you. I'm glad I'm not a news breaking person. I think I would do a terrible job of concealing what I know. I'd be the guy out there. What'd you say?
All your time.
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
I was so ecstatic. I was at Forbidden Door in Chicago when he officially made his ROH or his ROH. I keep saying ROH. I'm on that. I'm on that wavelength tonight. I guess I don't know. When he made his AEW debut as Brian's replacement for that match with ZSJ at the first Forbidden Door, that place went nuts. Such a great moment.
He's been killing it here.
Yeah.
I like him in the
So
long
good.
pants better than his old trunks.
The job is to fight, and I am really good at my job. That is tremendous. And he's been showing off what an underrated talker he is through most of this run too, in a way he never got to show in WWE.
Who is this poor guy?
It's the Giant, Andrew Everett.
This is Andrew the Giant. Did you see by the singlet?
Yeah, that's right. I saw that now.
Oh, that slam didn't go well.
Oh, I kind of want to see Andrew really fly around, because God, Claudio is one of the best faces in the business. Anytime I see Claudio against a smaller guy, I get unreasonably excited for that exact reason.
I like Claudio against everyone. He's just so good.
Can we talk about the power that he just showed, chokeslamming the 7-foot tall Andrew?
Well, that's what Kevin was saying. Kevin Kelly. He was saying that how do you choke? How do you do this to a 7-footer?
You should set up for the big body slam in the middle of the ring.
There you go. And speaking of which, speaking of Claudio here, I did hear did you see the quote from the Blackpool Combat Club coming after New Year Dash as well, that said they want to get all of the Blackpool Combat Club back in Japan in 2024, including Wheeler, and including as a female representative, Marina Shafir.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah.
She would fit in with her style.
100%.
By the way, when Claudio's about to do the swing, why do people just not grab his leg?
I believe
know.
somebody has. I think we have seen that counter in the past.
I feel like this is a conversation similar to like biting the hand of Britt Baker during the lockjaw.
No, because you can't.
Touches
She's
the
forcing the
nerves,
jaw
paralyzes
down.
your mouth.
Well, she's forcing the jaw down, so like you're trying to bite, but she keeps pulling away.
Oh, Andre.
Wow, that was a botch.
What are you doing on the top rope?
Well,
Oh,
I'm not surprised. He's a big guy. He doesn't go up there often.
The kick was better. The bicycle kick was better.
Claudio seems unimpressed. And Big G asks if Andrew Everett was in the X division at one point. I believe he was for a little while. I believe he did spend some time in Impact, floating around the X division.
I mean,
I
Big
thought
G,
he was
you
ever
got to
in
understand, Kyle's an
contract.
ROH historian. Oh, that was a botch.
what? No, I think Claudio produced uppercut there, right?
Yeah, he missed it.
Yeah, he was gonna shooting star into the uppercut. Yeah, this has not been a good showing for Andrew, and God bless them. It is incredibly hard to do what they do, night in, night out. Man, just short clothesline, and that's enough of that. Wow,
I feel bad for him. He did not look good in that match.
No.
he did not. And we've seen him look significantly better. It was clearly it was just an off night, but
Hey, hopefully no one got hurt.
ideally, you don't want your off nights to happen on national TV.
Yeah, save that for ROH.
Yeah, when nobody important is watching, just
Sickos.
yes. Oh,
That'd be fun. Claudio and Heyman.
hello. That is Wednesday, a Dynamite Homecoming.
We've been looking to fight people.
I wanted that match during Claudio's world title run. You know what? I can't deal with this blatant favoritism from Lexi Nair. Look at her standing closer to Big Bill. Come on.
I mean,
I'm adjusting to Ricky's 8 Mile look here. He's not his usual nice short sleeve button up collar shirts and
It's
Slack.
it's a choice. Yeah, Ricky Starks, Sammy Guevara are promoting that.
that'll be fun.
Should be a blast, yeah. And Big G, who's with Cameron Grimes, you were thinking of the name Trevor Lee. He was on the Indies. Cameron Grimes on the Indies was Trevor Lee.
Battle of the Belts 9 next week, where no belts will change.
Yeah, I was gonna say, safe to say, no titles will change hands.
One of these days. Yes, Big G, spoiler alert, they won't not change hands.
No. And that, that's that. The Battle of the Belts is. I almost feel like it's going to be good when that contract finally runs its course. That agreement finally runs its course, and we don't have to deal with putting these specials on anymore because nothing noteworthy seems to happen. What are we doing?
Yeah,
it's
not my classic.
It's a battle
like
of the belts.
Is it?
Yes.
In the strictest sense, yes.
I mean, people with belts are battling. So I guess, but
grammatically, that does imply that the belts themselves are battling, like Rock'em Sock'em Robots or something.
that'd be more entertaining.
That'd be hilarious.
Go into the ring, you're full gear, getting ready to go in the ring. All of a sudden, you walk up to your little fighter guy.
Do you remember? I'm gonna age myself here. Do you remember the Karate Fighters tournament that the WWF ran in the mid to late 90s? That was a thing
Yes.
that they ran periodically. Okay, I'm not the only one who remembered that. There, it was in sponsorship with was it Mattel or something like that? I remember who it was who had the game called Karate Fighters that was basically an updated version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots with more like joints and maneuverability amongst the character, and they literally had like on-screen personalities and wrestlers and performers.
It was Milton Bradley.
It was Milton Bradley, thank you. But like, yeah, week in and week out they would, and I think they built to a final blow-off, and the final blow-off was even on a pay-per-view. I want to say it was like in your house or maybe in SummerSlam. But it was, what are we doing? Objectively, it's no more silly than Tony doing, the special gimmick matches for Texas Chainsaw Massacre or anything. That's the same product tie-in, but
see, today though, it would have been that would be like a YouTube special.
Yes. Oh man, that was there's some reminiscing, and there are probably people watching this that were not born yet when the Karate Fighters tournament was a thing.
It makes the WWE zombie thing look not that bad.
No, it does, because at least theirs were like separate segments that lived on their own.
It was in 1995. I had to look it up.
Yep.
No, in the 96. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was a good year. Back in Nebraska was good.
We're getting a half hour for this.
Hey, I wish it were the full Kings of the Black Throne. I love me some Buddy Matthews, but Malachi and Brody just hit different.
Yeah, but Buddy fits the FTR rivalry a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that I'll buy. Oh, that was it. No, it was on Raw. I'm sorry. I just looked up some of the history of the Karate Fighters tournament, and it was the finals were Jerry Lawler versus Sonny, or I'm sorry, against Sable. It happened in a live segment in the middle of the ring on Monday Night Raw.
Wait, Sable was around in 96. She was around in 96?
96. Yeah. She made her debut at WrestleMania 12 in March of 96. She was a second for Triple H at the time, actually.
But she would have been good.
And then
that thing went on so long that she was featured in the Karate Fighters.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then when Sable debuted with Triple H at WrestleMania that year, then that segued into the feud with Mark Marrow when he came on in his original Wildman gimmick before he became the faux boxer. So yeah, that was a whole thing. Oh goodness. Just I don't know what caused me to remember that weird little piece of lore, but here we are. So I got to ride the Wayback Machine 25, 30 years back. That's good times.
I prefer Marrow when he was Johnny B. Good. Johnny B. Bad. I'm sorry, Johnny B. Bad.
Johnny B. Bad. And I remember Jesse Ventura calling a couple of his couple of his matches during his abbreviated WCW run, and just thinly veiled homophobia at him, and just because it was the early 90s and that was a thing you could still do, and not be run out on a rail. And I'm glad those days are gone. But like there was a point at one of the Beach Blast shows where Mark Merrow was judging the bikini contest, and Jesse Ventura was very upset about this decision. Like, wrestling's a weird thing. It's such an odd
It's a
thing
very
to
weird
love.
thing.
Let's settle in
Cool.
and enjoy this. So this is going to be good.
I think it's gonna be below average.
Mid.
Very mid. Not enough talented guys in this.
So Dax's family's in the front row, so that means he's going to get his ass whooped in front of them.
All right. Buddy is a guy, and I know I'm hardly alone in this. Buddy Matthews is a guy who deserves so much more than he's gotten so far as well.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that's been both companies, so I don't understand what's going on there.
Yeah, I'm going to continue on this train as long as I have to. First of all, obviously, I want Kenny Omega to be back healthy after his diverticulitis and all that situation. I've wanted Kenny Omega versus Buddy Matthews since Buddy set foot in the company. I think that would be
awesome.
amazing.
Like I said, I don't know what the deal with Buddy is. Like I don't know why both companies seem to have the same thing with him.
His whole career's been the same. Like
Yeah,
his feeling.
I mean, he was putting out bangers on 205 Live. He and Mustafa Ali were killing
it
it.
was
Week
205
in, week out.
Live.
Yeah, exactly. 205 was also the weight limit and also the number of people watching.
Exactly. Just saying, like he is so good, but both companies couldn't put him beyond a certain level, and I don't know why.
Brendan does make a good point. Buddy is engaged to Ripley, so he's doing well.
He is. Hard to argue there. I mean, I remember getting to see when I did a Warrior saw a Warrior wrestling show in South Bend early about this time last year. Buddy main evented against their champion Casey Navarro for their title, and it is wild seeing Buddy actually live and in person because he is so stacked and put together just from a physical standpoint. You find yourself a little bit surprised that there can be that much musculature on that frame.
I love when guys like live up to the whatever. The like I saw Drew McIntyre in he was next to me at a Flyers game, like where I sit, they do the tunnel, so that's where they do all like the pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was every bit as big as I thought he might be.
Yeah. Him and Bobby Lashley when they were doing their independent runs, came through Omaha, and seeing them like up close in person, it's like, yep, you're one big muscle hamster. Like you're just a giant.
I will say that my dad, when early 90s, was he had a couple jobs, and one of his second jobs was as a limo driver, and he drove Road Warrior Animal, and he drove a couple others, and he said to this day, and he has seen many big guys. He's seen Mark Henry in wrestling, but my dad was a heavy power lifter, so he's seen all those guys too. And he said Road Warrior Animal was the most broad, big-shouldered man he'd ever seen in his life.
He looked that way on TV, so yeah.
All man and a yard wide, as Gordon Soley would say.
Little dueling crisscross applesauce with the middle finger. That was nice.
And
yeah.
No,
protect your family.
I was gonna say, was that Malachi going over to? Yep. And now stereo crisscross applesauce.
Crisscross applesauce.
Man, good stuff here. I love it.
Yeah, 2024 for
I'm
AEW,
intrigued.
more focused on women's division, more focused on tag division.
Yes.
Mhm.
More tag, please.
I am a little intrigued at this whole concept. So we're really just doing, if FTR loses, they have to join the House of Black. That always felt like such an odd stipulation, because if you're Malachi Black, at no point do you think if you win a match to force them into this group that are we playing him as so sure of himself that the second they're under his thumb they'll start seeing the light? Is that what we're playing at here?
Yes. I think if now I actually don't know if that's the answer, but my guess is the way Malachi plays his character and the way they've written his character is people like that truly believe that they can either convince you or break you down enough to get you to go along with them. So I could see that.
And plus, you're eliminating some of your biggest threats by getting them to be on your team, right? So
Yeah, because you know if you beat
Ideally.
them, it's not something you could do every time. It's a rare occasion. So it's better off that they work for you.
And yeah, I see that, but it turns into a cost benefit analysis at that point. Like, yes, you're taking them out as competition, but you also have to understand that in all likelihood they'll be working to undermine you at every available opportunity.
how dare you bring up wrestling tropes?
I know these are strings I probably should not be pulling on.
Cash and Dax are honorable men. They would fall in line.
No, but like I said,
Just
I
like
believe
just
that
like Brian
there's like who?
like Brian Danielson did with the Wyatt family, or like
He almost did.
John Cena did with the Nexus, or
Well, he never did.
I'm trying to think of other ones. For a second, I almost name dropped Rey Mysterio, but he never actually lost any of those matches to Punk.
I mean, listen, there is something to be said that it is a wrestling trope, but the wrestling trope works better when it's a team like House of Black or like a Wyatt was back in the day, where they think that they can mentally maneuver you into supporting their cause. Nexus Punk even worked because he was doing straight edge at the time. Nexus didn't make any sense, but like
I think they did. I think they did it with Raven's Flock at one point too.
Yes. But someone like Malachi, like Raven, like Punk when he was doing straight edge, these guys truly believe, in theory, the character they create truly believe that they can either convince you or break you enough that you will eventually just become one of their minions. They're cult leaders.
I mean, they wouldn't be a heel and a cult leader if there wasn't a lot of hubris involved, I suppose.
That's the thought.
See, and this is the kind of quality content you're getting here on the Collidercast. This is the kind of character breakdowns. This is great stuff here.
I like story. So I'm glad that we're talking story.
And as far as I'm aware, not to take away from the story here, but it just occurred to me. As far as I'm aware, I think Malachi Black is still technically one half of the PWG Tag Team Champions with Brody King. Kings of the Black Throne, I think, are still the PWG Tag Champions.
Yeah, but who knows with PWG?
Yeah, that it very much feels like a company is in danger.
WG.
Yeah,
That's too bad.
it's but they're the way the landscape is, that you have to wonder what they're providing in the current landscape.
Well, they're their own worst
Especially-
enemies.
Well, the fact that they're not streaming anywhere is not helpful. The fact that DVD printings will take forever to get anywhere.
And who has DVDs anymore?
Not
Yeah.
Best Buy.
Yeah, see,
Nope.
and just you can't be. They disappear for long periods of time, and it's just like that's not. Oh, okay. Well, Brendan Haney's saying Super Dragon's wife is real sick, so they want to break. All right, I'll give him that. That real life does get in the way. But
It
the
does.
streaming thing versus DVD thing is going to be a major problem if they don't.
I mean, you can also argue they've only run maybe a dozen shows in the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
They came back and ran Battle of Los Angeles in 2021 or 22, and that was, I think they ran a Mystery Vortex later that year, and that was more or less it.
Yeah, they could have. They
There might
could
have
have
been 1 or 2 other shows.
They could be great on Twitch or one of these places where lots of wrestling companies do it, or IWTV or whatever, or their own. They could have their own service, but it's just tough. Like, there's a lot of really good indies out there anymore.
Well, and PWG's library is almost big enough that it would be valuable on its own. There was a lot of great stuff in PWG's history. That would be a real interesting Tony Khan pickup, if you're being honest, with the number of talent that he has on the payroll right now that were a big deal in PWG.
All those prototype matches.
And hell, make yourself some money licensing it back to Vince McMahon or Triple H and Nick Khan for the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens releases, documentary releases. Oh no, I'm not sure they're doing those anymore. WWE has basically folded all of their home video content at this point. Network exclusive.
I mean, it doesn't
whatever you
make
wanna
sense
say.
to do it. Doesn't make sense
it
to
doesn't.
do it.
Especially not in the world where you have the network.
We'll just release the specials on there.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I mean, yes, that's footage of El Generico, and we're talking about El Generico's friend, Sami Zayn. But Generico's friend would be happy to have it too.
You can stand out in the match so far. Or
Well, it's been a good match.
And good, solid stuff. It gives good old school tag formula wrestling. When it's done right, it's impossible to beat. And I've never understood why so many companies don't put more of an emphasis on tag team wrestling, because when you do tag formula right, it's the best thing in the world. Crowds eat it up with a spoon, and it's great. They buy the drama, they buy the near tags, they buy all of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this match may not go down, at least so far. We still got 11 minutes if they don't do an overrun. This match, might not go down as the greatest match of all time, but it's been really solid. And I think that just goes to show how spoiled we are anytime FTR or anyone wrestles, that if they're not delivering you the match of the year candidate, you're like, well, I think this has been a really good match.
it doesn't have to be
Brendan
match of the year if it progresses a story, right?
Right.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
Well, and Brendan Haney in the chat here I think it's right as well. This is good. I think it kicks into another gear if we get into that last break as we go into the home stretch.
Oh yeah.
All right, we got hot in for Dax now. He's cleaning house. Form. Player reverses again. Arm wringer, short clothesline. So smooth. That double, triple reversal, the arm wringers into the short clothesline on Dax. So that was just very slick. And there's another Bret Hart reference. Seen Bret do that so many times. The mounted punches in the corner and then springing into the crossbody for the other guy behind him.
I just like to see the inverted drop. Not enough inverted drops.
And a brain buster.
I've always wanted wrestlers to have more inverted drops, more atomic drops. Give me all the wrestling maneuvers of my youth.
There you go.
Well, the funny thing is now, I know, like, oh, you just want to see what you saw as a youth. Yes, some of that, but also they're used so infrequently now that they add something to a match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's seeing something different. It's what you see the same moves a lot anymore, and that's the same in every generation. When you watch the mid 90s, you saw the same moves over, like the same, because that's just what wrestlers are doing. So it's nice every now and again where they start using some old moves because it just feels different.
Yeah, Tyler, to me, it was kind of like you're saying back in that generation, they used a lot of the same, handful or 10 moves, or whatever. It felt like watching NFL offense where all the offenses are the same. You just have different, pieces. And now it's a little bit more wide open. So you have spread offenses, you have some power offenses.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, like anything else. I mean, people listen. Old guys will say football was better back in the whatever, and new guys will say no, it's better because we have this and we have that and we have this. And there's a bit of truth in both things. Like when you look at it.
Powerplex. Powerplex coming up.
Big G just said he misses the Powerplex.
There you go. Big G just manifested that.
That looked painful.
Nice.
Yeah, Cartwright.
You know what I like about that was Dax Cash didn't miss him, he went through him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm supposed to go through.
Like I do get annoyed sometimes, like when a tag team just lets the other guy get to break up the thing. It's like it makes a lot more sense to me when like he just gets through him. So that just shows how good these guys are. Because what do you do there? You're gonna try to stop him. Big G's a little ahead of us, so he's not a psychic. He just is.
I'm also watching it. Yeah, I'm streaming it actually as well on one of my on a streaming device. So I'm not actually on a cable connection. So
I am
behind,
so surprised,
but not too far.
I'm surprised Big G's ahead of me because I am on cable, and usually that's one of the quicker ones.
I'm not where I think Ryan and I are on the same pace, and then Kyle's a little bit behind, maybe a second behind.
Yeah, you can tell by the reactions.
I do love that as a sort of a continuing thing for Cash. It feels like every time Cash sort of leaves his feet and tries to go a little bit too overboard, something bad happens to him.
We'll never hit that 450.
By the way, they're purposely showing what's on the screen.
Yeah. I'm also, Scott George, I'm not sure that Gorilla called the move the Herc and Jerk. He called the tag team the Herc and Jerk because it was Hercules and Paul Roma. Hercules was Herc and Paul Roma was the Jerk.
He's not going to hit the kid.
No. Yeah. Make you watch your dad get beaten up.
Come on, at least have the good sense to act like you're concerned. Come on, kid.
Amateur.
Well, no, when you know that, your daddy and his friend are this good, you're not going to be concerned.
Right. It reminds me of listening to stories of interviews with Cody Rhodes where he talks about how his dad never smartened him up to the business when he was younger,
Yeah.
and he just assumed.
Ooh, right.
I so like when his dad joined the NWO, he was furious.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh
boys.
man. All right, we just hit the shatter machine.
Yeah, you're a little bit behind us.
Yeah.
No,
jeez.
no. The near fall is already done. We just hit our wide
Okay.
shot. Sorry, I'm just.
I'm like,
So we hit the shatter machines. Dead didn't get the win.
Now we're kicking.
Couple of big roundhouse kicks. 3 of them. 4.
now in the hard part of the ring.
No.
Oh,
Oh, that's slick. Into the
That was well
spike.
done.
Oh wow.
spike pile driver
That
in the
is
ring.
that is fabulous. Just the transition to get there was just great stuff.
Who
Brody?
said this match would? Yep. Who said this match would pick up? Was it Brendan Haney?
Yeah.
He was right.
Ooh. That storyline.
And Garcia.
That's right. And Brody had to think that Garcia and Guy Magic.
Well, that's right. This actually makes sense.
And Garcia took Brody out of the Continental Classic.
Yeah. All sorts of things intertwining.
I love when things do that. They've been
And-
doing that
and-
a lot lately, and it's been
Well,
really
and-
good.
Well, and like you said, it doesn't do it in a way that's, well, all these guys are good guys, so they're just magically friends now. No, like you've intertwined the characters in such a way that this motivation makes sense.
Like you have him here, who's kind of been flirting with good guyishness anyway.
Yes.
But his motivation is solely based on wanting to screw over the House of Black. And then even like we talked about before with the Acclaimed and the Bang Bang Gang, everyone's kind of at each other's whatever, and it's only because Bowens is like, we'll probably just win if we team up. That
Ooh, got him.
Folding press.
Quick little roll up.
that was nice.
And FTR gets the W.
By the way, I think this means we're going to get a trios match.
FTR and Daniel Garcia against the House of Black.
Yes.
I could be convinced of this. Yeah.
Listen, Garcia is becoming very much a face. Like we know this.
Yes.
Becoming a professional wrestler again.
Oh no.
It will be interesting to see what Daddy Magic thinks of this.
Well, Daddy say
Actually,
no.
Daddy Magic's kind of becoming a bit of a face too. It's kind of funny.
Well, if anything, I slightly unrelated, but I've been ringing the bell for 3.0 to make a run in ROH as well.
Yeah. By the way, Gina with FT Garcia. I like that.
Off on a chair to cash.
And, oh. And we're about to brain Dax. And there we go. There's the
Nice touch.
Oh, that's a
Nice touch.
great touch.
With a 10-bell salute.
Why do so many people have homemade referees shirts in the AEW crowds?
Weird. Actually, I don't want to judge people, so I don't. But like, you're right, they do.
You know what? Go old school with it. Wear a powder blue short sleeve button down with a black bow tie. Because bow ties are cool.
And have a perm mullet like Pee Wee. Was it Pee Wee? What is your last name?
Randy Anderson.
Yeah, Pee Wee Anderson.
There you go.
Mustache and a curly mullet. Interesting. Yeah, I thought Garcia maybe would go more towards the BCC, but
I mean, FTR fits him too, though.
mhm.
And so that is all a Collision. Brendan, I have no idea. I guess we'll do 3 hours next week. Joe's not here, Ant's not here, so we'll let me figure out the week first. But
Yeah. I believe I'm going to
So
be
that
traveling with family next weekend too, so I don't think I'm going to be here
Call
either.
Kyle in. I'll figure it out. I'm not doing a solo show. I can promise you that.
That'd be amazing.
Don't worry. If something changes, I'll let you know.
So that being said, that was Collision. I thought it was a great show. I enjoyed every part of it. What do you guys think?
I liked it. I mean, it was not knowing what to expect really too far ahead in advance of, because they kept kind of announcing matches yesterday and today. It was a lot of fun, and kind of what I expect from Collision. A lot of on mat wrestling, as opposed to the flying flips type wrestling. They had a couple of matches tonight, but it was mainly a lot of ground and pound.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, it looks like the feud must continue with FTR and the House of Black, which is great. We have the wild card of Daniel Garcia now. You have whether he's going to be involved, what Daddy Magic is going to do with that. Just great stuff here. This was a lot of fun. 2 hours flew by.
It really did. Collision's a great show. The Saturday time obviously hurts it a bit, but it is just so good.
And we got talking about the main event, which was fantastic. And Eddie Kingston and Trent Beretta had a main event caliber match, a pay-per-view caliber match on the undercard tonight.
Yeah, they really did. That match was excellent. It could have been the main event. It was so good.
Yeah, I preferred that match over the tag match, but story-wise, I get why that was the main event.
Yeah,
I'm with you. There was more of a story in the one, so you have to go with it, but still. All right, so that was our Collision watch along. Like I said, we'll be doing this every week now. I guess I'll just start with the wrap-up process. Kyle, where can we find you?
I am on all the socials at Kyle K. Sparks. I don't have a lot to plug right now. I'm in the process of negotiating a couple of things and working on a couple of things that'll be happening in the new year. So give me a follow on there. I'm usually also talking AEW mostly. Any shows I happen to be watching. If I'm watching, I tend to be live tweeting it. I'll be looking for that. ROH, I'm an ROH guy. So look for me more coverage on that in the new year. But yeah, anything that I'm doing is going to be announced on my Twitter feed there at Kyle K. Sparks. That's about it. Anything I do will be there.
Okay. And Joe?
Yeah, social media at _Asian Joe. Also on my social media in my bio, I have a link to my cereal review blog where I review random novelty cereals. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, other than that, here on the Mark Order podcast on Wednesdays, post Dynamite, and most Saturdays for the Collidercast.
All right. And then you can find me on all our socials at Mark Order Pod. If you go onto all of our socials, you can go to our link tree, and on our link tree, you can click a link that brings you to Pro Wrestling Tees, where you can find our t-shirts. So go Pro Wrestling Tees /Mark Order Pod. That does it too. Go buy stuff to support us, please. Otherwise, just follow us on all our socials. Please subscribe to our YouTube, so at Mark Order Pod. And then you can, if you want to do something for me specifically because you think I'm such a handsome boy, you can follow my history blog, _ Here for History on Twitter. And then the blog itself is hereforhistory.com. And that's about it. So until next week, thank you for joining our inaugural, butchered that word, but thank you for joining our first Collidercast. Kyle, thanks for being our first ever guest.
Thank you. It was a blast.
And we will see you guys, well, Wednesday and then next Saturday, I think. Something like that.
This concludes the Mark Order Podcast. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Join the Mark Order.